Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for clicking on this video with a rather dramatical title. Now, I'm not the first here on YouTube to make a video called I'm quitting, or I quit YouTube, or I quit whatever. There are creators here on YouTube far bigger than I am and far bigger than I can even imagine ever becoming. No ambition even of becoming that big, that announced that they would go and quit YouTube for all the reasons that they came up with. It's sometimes very difficult if people see these videos, especially from these channels that are so popular, and I'm not one of these, that say I'm quitting because it's too difficult, it's too stressful, it's too this, it is too that. But I can tell you, being at the other side here as well, having come up with an idea every week to make a video and just produce that. It's like a lecture that you hold, that you keep on a very high level. I would say I'm doing my best. Then editing, then creating a thumbnail, title, and all that stuff. That after a while, this becomes like, not sure why I'm doing this. That's not the case with me though. I love making YouTube videos. I really think that YouTube actually brought us together. So I'm not looking down to YouTube's play and say like, okay, it's too difficult for me. I'm burnout. I have a burnout from YouTube, whatever. I don't have any ideas. I don't have any inspiration. I don't believe in inspiration. I believe in focus and concentration and dedication. Anyways, nothing of all of that. But truth to be told, I came at a certain point here in the history of the channel, in our journey, your journey and my journey, that I thought like it is time to look back over my shoulder and see where we come from. What did we do in the past? Where did YouTube actually brought us? I'm speaking us because I'm saying us because it is you and me. I know many of you, a portion of you, are here from the very start. And in this video, I would like to take some time. I will try to not edit this video. That's one of my promises I made myself. I will not keep an eye on my clock. It's just you and me. I want to just look back over my shoulder together, go back to the channel, to the beginning, and just highlight a few milestones, highlights actually, just to see where we came from. What was there at the beginning? How did we end up here? Which is a place where I could not wish for any other place on YouTube to be. We are now making a lot of videos about temporary construction. It is so critical. It's something that for 30 years actually was on the back of my mind, and YouTube gave me that permission, created this little island for me and for you, where we could share our ideas, where things were built. We're going to talk about that in an instant. And so I'm actually very, very, very grateful, and I'm full of thankfulness, grateful feelings towards YouTube and towards you as an audience to bring me from that spot over 10 years ago, what we're going to discuss and discover again together, just briefly, but it's sometimes also hilarious to see me back 11 years ago, to where I am now. It's really where I wanted to be. If I look back, and you can say like, okay, there are so many things that I could have done differently, more efficiently, but as I tell Stefan, our project manager, patrons among you, they will know Stefan. He is my partner also in the podcast. I'm not a business owner. I'm not an entrepreneur. People say that about me. Like, Wim, you have really done great stuff. I mean, look at these productions, and we're going to have a look at those as well, because it's an achievement. And they say like, yeah, well, okay. And maybe also in some parts in classical music, I'm a front runner, maybe not anymore, but the time that we used our community, leveraged our community actually to finance these productions, it's maybe still something new, but nevertheless, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm just a simple musician with some ideas who might happen maybe to be a little stubborn in this sense that once an idea is stuck in my mind, I cannot let go of it. And so I'm working now 10 years on a book together with some other people that I'm working like I get up at 3 a.m. in the night sometimes, and then instead of doing watching some television, I just turn on my PC and I start writing and translating and improving on the book. So that's what I do. That's kind of person I am. But now we are here. And it's time now, I think, to look back, see where we come from, make also an inventory of where are we right now? What do we have accomplished? And more importantly, what's there to be in the future? Because I'm not quitting from you. I'm not leaving you behind. I'm not quitting from all of this. I'm not quitting from temporary construction. I'm not quitting from making videos. But we might want to step back and say, okay, what other future could we build based upon what we have achieved right now? We're going to do all of that together. But first this, I will take a break in the summer months. I might make some videos here and there, but definitely not weekly. What I really need right now, it has been an insane year, and the coming month is even more insane. I'm heading now to the festival in Leuven, recording this at 28th of June, 2025. We're ending also the Kickstarter on Chopin. Once you see this video, the Kickstarter has ended. There is an option on Kickstarter for late pledges. It is more expensive, but if you've missed that goalpost of 2nd of July, is still time for you to do. But this year was insane. We have now 3 productions. We will have 4 at the end of this year. I could elaborate on it. I'm not going to do that. But I feel that my body is responding to all the pressure. That's from the book, that's from these productions, that's from YouTube, that's like from me being in Leuven more at the organ, having to play, having the honor to be able to play concerts, being there, also be more involved in the artistic direction and everything like that. The book is coming to a culmination, to a climax, where also all the authors that worked on the book come together in July. We'll have things to do. There is my family. I have a girl of 20 now at the University of Leuven, study psychology. She's doing an insane job. She needs me sometimes. I'm there for my children. I'm there for my wife. I think she's there for me as well. But I can feel that my body now, I'm 53. People say they don't see that, and you can say it in the comment as well, that I do not look like 53. That's a very sensitive age. For those of you who are in your 20s, you will know when you hit 50. But anyways, so I can feel that being here for so long and having this constant, YouTube is stress because you have to feed an algorithm. So it's a very stressful thing that I'm announcing to take a break, because YouTube can just forget about me. You will maybe never, ever get a recommendation from YouTube anymore. So never just forget about me. It's just possible. But anyways, I would like to have in the summer months a little bit more, I call it free time. If I don't have to make YouTube videos, it's free time. Where I can work on the book, more relaxed. It's all going fine. Spent 3 weeks with my family when Anya, my wife, has a holiday this summer. That for 3 weeks we're just doing stuff that we want. We have also some things to fix in the house, which I really like doing. But now everything is like in between everything else. And so also to recharge myself and to rethink all of what we have together, because I want to bring this platform, Authentic Sound, on a higher level. We've made our case on temporary construction. I can make videos forever. There are tons of subjects, and I will be continuing to do that, but there has to be something else. I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video. First, we're going to have a look at the channel and go back in time at the very beginning. I will highlight some highlights, so to say, for you. We're going to listen and watch and laugh a few times. Also admire some things, because if I look back, I did some cool things, I think, on YouTube, and I just a few videos, not much. You can do the exercise if you want. Go back on the channel, select all those videos, and just see for yourself. There are some cool things to discover, I think. And then I will make, like I said, a kind of inventory of where we are, and then we look at the future. So I don't know how long this video will be, but we're here in this together, and this will be one of the last videos for the summer months. I think Unless I regret this video next week and you will see me again, but I don't think so. It's still, you see how I'm struggling with announcing this, but I have to take a little break to just not be, you know, what I've said. Anyways, we're going to do that. Before we do that, you do me a favor, like and subscribe this video, and especially subscribe to this channel. That's what I should say, because that's very important. Okay, let's now go and have a good time together. So when you go on the channel here, you know, just go on videos and then you click all these videos. What I removed YouTube is all the lives. We were gonna talk about that briefly there. So if you see 11 years ago, that's because 11 years ago I started this channel. This is the very, very first video I made. I'm not gonna play it. You can just watch it for yourself. Listen, these recordings, I'm a different position right now, but I'm still proud of these recordings. They are very good. But I still remember as a day of yesterday, how I started with this video. This is a very simple IKEA light that we had. And then one camera. I had no idea of photography, black backgrounds. This is an insane setup for reaching nothing, of course, but we did it. And the reason why I opened this YouTube channel is because this clavichord, this was so dear to me when I got it, and it developed in such a good friend in my life that at the time I felt it's a pity like not to record the stuff that I was doing. And so I recorded that. And then what? Remember, 2013, 2014, YouTube was still very young. And I saw it as a kind of opportunity to make videos on YouTube for myself, to build a library. Of course, what happens is the same as with every YouTube creators in that time. And especially even before, like some people started to find these videos and comment on that. So the clavichord at the beginning was very, very, very in the core of everything. And if you scroll through the beginning videos, I mean, it's everywhere. It's tuning the clavichord, it's playing the clavichord. There's a lot of music videos at the beginning, developing the name authentic sound, but it's all clavichord, 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 clavichord. And like the channel, of course, grew very slow. You will see further on that there is like an announcement for 2,000 subscribers. That took me some while, but the clavichord world is a very small, dedicated world where people know each other. And so at those days, I attracted quite some clavichord people, and also on Facebook. I was still on Facebook, I'm not there anymore. So there was a community around that. And then started the idea of like, let's make some talking videos. And so what we're going to do, we're just going to listen for 2 seconds to this video. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say anything, but sit down, and if you want to laugh, really laugh with this. It's laughable, but in a way, you have to start somewhere. So let's have a good time. I click this video. It starts amazing. First 10 seconds, there's nothing. Still nothing. Still nothing. Still nothing. Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Authentic Sound. What an energy, right? I was 10 years younger, and I have more energy than myself 10 years ago. Of course it was not. I was just talking like I would talk to you when we would talk in person. Of course, on the camera, you need to be a little bit more enthusiastic. That's what it is, but this is just hilarious. But I mean, there is still the same library. The books have changed. I mean, that is also for me, this image, like I'm seeing the same patterns. I mean, that is my world there. A lot of things changed. Now we have a fancy wooden floor. We have more books. We have beautiful scores. I have partly the library of Lorenz Gardien, my co-author of the book. I mean, those are insane scores. 19th century first prints and what have you. My whole house is filled with that right now. So we made a development where I'm sitting now is the Fritz. The clavichord is next to that. On the other hand side is the Frenzel. Well, the Frenzel is now moved again. So a lot of things happened. But for me, seeing this video is Okay, but that is my world. Everything that we did played there. And I think I mean, I talk about English. It's not my native tongue. I have to develop that. I have to learn. I remember when I started, when I decided to make these videos in English, I thought like I have to improve my English as well. I was very unfamiliar with the language. I mean, I do not belong to the generation here. And my daughters, they speak fluently English because they watch Netflix and everything in English. And my youngest daughter actually has a TikTok channel of over 60,000 followers. She has live streams where she's just commenting when she's playing games and she's commenting in English. I mean, I cannot imagine that. Before I was 16, for my first lesson in English was when I was 16. That's way too late, of course. But anyways, so I was so dedicated in doing that I was listening to an especially American YouTube channels, and I was just repeating the sentences they say that so to keep me thinking and start me thinking in English. I was really dedicated to do things around the clavichord. Of course, if you scroll further, you see just the development, you see the evolution of what we did. A lot of clavichord recordings, eh? So and this was stress at the time. Now I would do it much more relaxed, but at the time, like lighting the microphone setup. Now we have a fixed setup for everything. Of course, you need that. Just one click of one button on the camera and recording. For the clavichord, I have to change that because now everything is focused around the pianoforte. I'm going to talk about that in a second. So scrolling further, this is still one of my most popular videos, in spite of me making another version that I actually think is more updated. It's still with the short appoggiatura. I think the Mozart alla turca has a long one, but anyways, whatever. I discovered Haydn, not discovered, but really I had a Haydn period at the time with Mozart, some other music. Bach, of course, we did some cool stuff, and we will see further. And then here in this row, 2 videos. One, V16 means vlog 16. I mean, I'm sorry, that was at the time. This is Joris Potfliege doing some measurements at the original fortepiano. So the one he bought to copy mine was his condition. I'm not going to build a new pianoforte if I don't have the original. I'm not working from drawings. I want to have the instrument. So I made a series on that building. I mean, it's there, eh? Talking about like YouTube stress. You can go on my channel, type in pianoforte, and you will see actually the evolution of the building of the instrument. And here, the Beethoven Sonata Pathétique on clavichord. This is not whole beat. This is before I was into the field of or the idea of playing slower. And you know the story. Slow movements I struggled with, but this is I would say a very typical way of playing. Of me playing at the time, but still as people play today. And I mean by that, not as, I'm looking really weird when you have this repeated thing. But I mean by that, with timings, with a little bit of rubato, if I can say it like that, not in the way Alberto's playing right now. So we had an evolution there, but still, that's a beautiful recording. I can accept, I can live very easily with the different me's, so to say. I'm playing there, but 10 years ago, I played like that, and I'm still behind that, but it's in a little bit of another style. Anyways, that recording was very important. Why? It was shared by another channel in the United States, and this is actually a recording that grew the channel at the beginning. But the fortepiano, of course, was super important. This is so symbolic, because the piano was already ordered here, but I had no idea how this would develop. But the decision to build the pianoforte, or to have Joris build the pianoforte, was first of all a huge decision because it's not a cheap instrument. It's not like a clavichord. So I have an unbelievable marriage that we could have. I could just order this instrument. And also at the time had a lot of other stuff to do. My business, so to say, was really, really okay. So at the time, it all came together. It was possible, but still, you can also spend that money on your house. But ordering the pianoforte made me think okay, but what now? because now I know there is something wrong with this tempo that we are playing in. And I know that even here, that recording, there is something not okay because I cannot explain, quote unquote, everything I do. And now we can say like, okay, but Rim, that's not so important. It's a beautiful recording and we enjoy it very much. Yes, thank you. That's very nice. And I really appreciate that. And that's the meaning also. That's the reason why this video is still on my channel. I don't want to hide from it. But if you would ask me like how, according to what of the systems that you are preaching now on YouTube did you play, I would say I have no idea. That was just my feeling. It's all faster than the metronome marks that we have. It's all more with this, we call it Sturm und Drang. And by that we mean like a lot of, instant decisions in the sense of like timings, as I said, like maybe even speeding up a little bit, going slower a little bit, like not super steady in tempo, but that's fine. But when I'm going to play Beethoven at fortepiano, Alberto and I hadn't met at the time. Remember that? So Alberto, the performer my co-performer of the symphonies, and also the performer now, the full Beethoven keyboard works. We hadn't met at the time, so I was planning to do all of that myself. And I said to Anya, "Listen, we have to be able to be honest to my audience. When we're doing that, we were playing like all the sonatas. It was the original plan. I have to be able to say to people who are listening, like, this is the system that I followed. And I know that the metronome marks didn't work. But I also know, and I knew very well, that the way I was playing didn't reflect those metronome marks either. And I didn't know how to escape from that because I didn't know a solution for the metronome marks because I didn't feel it. Everything halved, there was, whatever. You know the story. So these videos are very important. So now the element of tempo reconstruction comes. And as you can see, the clavichord still is there a lot. There were some beautiful recordings here. The duets here, also, I think, beautifully filmed. I did some experience in black and white there. I mean, if you have some time, just scroll over to these videos. And actually, we're going to talk about all these music videos because we have to do something with them. The ballade was a recording of Chopin that I made years ago, like back in 2001 even, or even before. So before many of you probably were born. So, and I uploaded those on YouTube as well. I got response for that as well. But this was kind of inspired by this, and the ballade number 4 is not according to metronome marks either, but I mean, whatever. That's like an attempt of going further. See, thumbnail development, very clear, it was very recognizable. Mozart, Bach, you see flowers that was bought from my wife's. I don't know, actually. I would say 40th, but that's not possible with the date. So anyways, there are some flowers there, but so I see some family history as well. And Haydn, whatever. We go further, Bach, Haydn. Here also, very cool recording, I think. We go further. I have some notes here. I'm not going to edit that. More professional setup. Here, my father died in 2015, so... shared that. Sophie is coming to help me with some things there. You will see her back. And then came another milestone. Okay, now we're there at the following point, the studio project. If you've never seen that, you can go and check it out. I mean, there are a few episodes, probably also not with so much energy, but this is 10 years ago. We had a plan with that new fortepiano. We have, and you will see it there. Everything is in those videos. We had a plan of rebuilding our barn. We have a farm where we live in. There was the old house of Anya's parents. Otherwise, there was no way we could afford that. But there is a barn there. It's empty, basically. And we could make a studio there, a professional recording studio. So I really dived really into that. And we got to know some really cool persons. We went to Spain to meet Philip Newell. So you see us visiting there 10 years ago, some recording channels. Philip Newell is in that space like a legend. And you will see the plans. We never did that project because of me. I'm not an entrepreneur. Anya would have long built that project, and she would just invested that. That would mean we would have gone to the bank, having a mortgage on our house. I mean, what a wife do I have, right? Without her, none of this would have happened ever. So if you want to check it out, it's worth your time. It's a crazy plan. Long story short, it would be amazing when we would have that studio, because it would be fully soundproof. I would have a dedicated workspace there as well, totally ventilated, air conditioned and everything. So if you would enter that building, you are disconnected from the world. So for productions, for not only music, but also spoken production, lighting, everything would be there. But at the end, it would cost so much money. And I think it was just... the plans were too big. Anyways, check it out if you want. And then we made, of course, productions on site and everything. We started with afterthoughts. Not many views. It was a very dedicated audience we had for that. Not prepared at all. Couldn't function on YouTube. I mean, the days were long ago. This is not something... I now prepare these things much better. Then come the partitas. And there are many of you watching right now. I know that the partitas say, there we discovered the work of Wim, because the clavichord was there in the center all of the time. And I was preparing for a big project, the 6 partitas. We also upgraded our recording equipment, and I'm talking about that in the studio environment. There's a video that's playing now. What kind of sound do you like? We're actually just experienced with different microphone setups. The first recording we did was not the partitas, it was a Pachelbel hexachordic Apollinis. I was actually test recording before the partitas, but the partitas never happened for a reason I'm going to tell you in a second. But we actually shared everything with you. And if you didn't click on the live streams, we had dozens of live streams at the time. Very stressful, I can tell you. Then came the first vinyl recording. I shared my turntable that I bought, and then studio project, Kramer etudes, everything went on and on. All and like we were building a professional brand, so to say, around the clavichord, recording technology, and so on. Then my teacher Jacques van Ootmessen died, the Inventions recording, and so we continue. There is a recording that I would like to share with you, and I'm looking at my notes here. We're not there yet. So the productions, they also increased in terms of quality and in terms of like, we were trying to be better for YouTube, and of course trying to have a bigger audience and what have you. Sophie actually also served. I mean, she enjoyed that very much. But then came something here, my youngest daughter. That's like, we had a tape recorder. We're now recording analog. Sophie and Evelyn both actually turning pages, and Evelyn was dancing. You remember the Pachelbel video. And then I'm scrolling further together with you. Here is the video I wanted to show you. So this Scarlatti, we're going to have a quick listen to that. I mean, just think about it. The channel was like 1 year, 1.5 year old, and we had some courses on YouTube with some rather very good YouTube, specialist experts. And so we tried to really push the needle. And I made this Scarlatti video. So let's have a look together, just a few seconds. But then you see the production quality, which these kinds of videos I haven't done in 2 or 3 years. A video like this, easily you're talking about 15 hours of editing. Just let's watch. So I'm not sure if I would play this piece today in the same way, but this video actually got some of the people that I really hold dear to get today that discovered the channel and are still here on Patreon and so on. I mean, and also when I look back and I listen to these recordings, at those days, the only thing I did was playing the clavichord. And if you scroll further on the channel, you see some insane things that I did on YouTube. I mean, I don't know if and I played on YouTube. There is like I played the cello. It's sonata or suite. I always forget from Bach with my left hand only. And there was another Bach piece of which I, of course, also forget the title. A very famous one that I played in the transcription. See if we can come there with on this. I played the Waldstein Sonata on clavichord. These things are not supposed for clavichord. And my technique at the clavichord back then was top notch. I mean, if you hear those trills on that instrument, I'm really actually amazed myself. The pianoforte took its toll on my clavichord technique, as everyone who plays the clavichord and the pianoforte will tell. Both instruments do not correspond together. You will lose your sensitivity on the clavichord like 10-20%, and you regain that only very, very, very slowly. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. But I reached with the clavichord, thanks to all of this, quite an insane level. And there comes the partitas. Now I'm just scrolling through this because I want to show you one other video. Here, another video that was like a lot of editing, Mozart Symphony number 25. Also one of these recordings, like a symphony of Mozart on a clavichord. That's not easy. The instrument's not really made for that. So I'm still proud of that. And so everything culminated in the clavichord. Here's another video that many of you will remember. These videos also were insane in terms of editing. This starts completely black, but it's actually cool. It's a trio, so to say, of a trilogy of videos around another type of instrument that I had on loan from a friend at the time. I got some comments even on this video because I'm playing on an altar, but this is a chapel that has desacralized. How do you say that? But whatever. I mean, it's of course very personal. But these videos, if I'm watching these, that chapel is just, and many people of you will remember that because I made quite some videos there. Also outside of the chapel was our place to go. Didn't have the studio back then, so it was not always possible to record videos at home. Was also a problem because my studio now at home is also a living space, and in the holidays it's difficult. But so now I can go here. This is a dedicated space for YouTube. But I went there. Oftentimes we had a key almost. And I'm wondering when I see this, like, okay, I just want to do this again. Like this is, and these videos, nobody gets to see them anymore. Maybe some of you know where the videos are, but even if you would search for them on YouTube, you would not find them. And so there were a lot of work in terms of editing, but at the end, I have the feeling like this is a very valuable contribution if I could manage to have those videos produced in a way that they reach a little bit more people. Of course, when I would do it right now, when we would pivot the channel back to a music channel, this video would not have 3,000 views, but probably 13,000 or even 30,000 views. I don't know. So the energy was there at the beginning, but not always the results. And so you can scroll to the channel, I mean, a little bit further. What is here, picture of me. And I'm happy that I have these videos because I lost all the videos, all the photos of my rebuilding of the house. There was just one folder was deleted. I don't know why. I don't find them anywhere. Anyway, partitas are here. And then, yeah, this is something we have to talk about before the other thing. So I not only started the preparation for the partitas, but also started to do something that people at the time did a lot. And it was recommended to me as well. Make one video every day. So, and I also know for some of you, they discovered my work thanks to this and it's still here. So we started the Partita vlog. So for 1 month, I had one video a day. And it's cool to see, I mean, if you just want to have like some daily, like how life was for us at the time, it's like, it's really a vlogging, you know, Partita vlogging. And I did it every day. It was possible also at the time. There were also some videos that I made while I had to do something abroad. This was an important milestone for the channel. And what I've learned from that is that when you make videos every day, topics come by themselves. That is like no problem. Yeah, just check it. We did live streams there. We recorded every Partita live, everything. So everything was live streamed while recording it for real. And the goal was to have the partitas pressed not only as CDs, but also as a very luxurious vinyl set disc box. But it was like at the time, I think was the cost of production was like 13,000 or something. And we're talking 10 years ago. There was no way that I didn't have the audience to really finance that. So, but the plans were there. Was really crazy, actually. Even we had a weekend, Tanya and I, so I filmed that. So every day we had a video. And of course, things moved on. And then came, if you scroll further a little bit, you come to this video. I'm going to play a small fragment. And many of you, the video has 320,000 views, will remember this.
Eigentlich der Schlüssel zu allem bietet wirklich mehr Sinn.
So in case you would think I'm completely crazy, which is, I think, not far from the truth, you should do me one. Same bookshelf, vinyl discs. There was my time with the vinyl disc period. I mean, I was discovering that, and I'm not going to talk about that. Lawrence will appear in the on screen in a second. But this video so actually, yeah, there's some advertisement. This video was super important because in a way, I was making videos on clavichord, the partitas, but the pianoforte was in the midst of being built. And so still this idea of like, but how am I going to do that? And that the story is very known. And I mean, I'm not going to elaborate that. Lorenz came in that period where actually for me everything came together. And I decided, okay, let's go full into this, because during that video that we just watched, it's this one here, how fast did Mozart and Beethoven really play. During that video, I actually got the pieces glued together in talking to Lorenz. Also here, my story, just go and search for that. That's my life's backstory, so to say. Recording of all the partitas on tape, pianoforte and so on. So everything started to, without me knowing, going in the direction of tempo reconstruction. That's the one thing. So fast forward, Alberto came on the channel when the fortepiano was done, and you have to scroll a little further. It's 21, I think. He also made some videos of introducing him. We had some other projects there in that same time still, making more and more, videos on tempo reconstruction. Many of these sources just half explored, whatever, made thumbnails like this. I mean, back in the days, today with AI, you can create something. It's not even easy, but at the time, that's like 3 hours of work at the minimum. I made Mozart sonatas, the München sonatas, started to play those in really in tempo. So these are, would be not my style of today, but the tempo is there. And then more and more the metronome is there. And interviews with Lorenz. You see, just by scrolling the channel, you see everything change. It's just fascinating, actually, for me as well. Tried other things, assignments. We even had later in the time the pianoforte here, pianoforte there. So the pianoforte was coming. The Leuven organ, then the other organ in Wondelgem, of which I was architect, so to say. Did all kinds of stuff, but the piano was there sooner than actually you would expect here. But then Alberto came, and of course Alberto was a game changer for the entire channel, for my work, and directed everything even more towards the pianoforte, which was new here. Again, we had a live concert in that same chapel. At the time, having only a few thousand, not even 10,000 subscribers, we had over 200 people in that live. I mean, that's some dynamics that I really want to get back. Also with Emily Davidson at the interview. So we did quite reaching out to musicians. Yeah. And then Alberto came, as I said, and I'm scrolling further, but I don't think I can go far enough to see where he comes. I mean, we're 7 years ago, which is, no, it's still a few years. And that's the thing, you know, when I go to the beginning of here, I see 1.5K videos, then I think, like, I feel a little bit like, am I that kind of an idiot? You know, 1,500 videos, really? But as I said, it's unbelievable, and it's just, I mean, here live streams. If we click on the live stream button, how many live streams did we have? Episode 73. Those were very stressful. I mean, a live stream is just stressful. Internet dropping right before you start, the signal dropping, YouTube doesn't receive it, and that's just 5 minutes before, and everything was like on time. We wanted to be like very faithful, and not faithful, like very reliable to our audience. I did live streams also, making videos, live stream, whatever. We did crazy stuff. So that brings us here. And where are we now? And I think I can summarize it best by going on the website, because this is what we all built together. This is the Pachelbel that we started with. There was no partitas. There is still not a partita recording. Why? The Bach partitas. For the simple reason that it was fully edited, fully ready. Everything, that version of the partita is ready to be pressed or on CD, on vinyl, tomorrow if I want. And still people ask me like, we want to have it because some people, like for instance, I'm not going to name names, some people that had it just to listen to it as a preparation for me to just be, I mean, whatever, proof, listen. They say like, yeah, but this is an amazing recording and we really would like to have it. Maybe one day. But right now, for that recording, I cannot just explain everything I did. I just played on feeling. And now that we have come to a point where people see me as an authority on terms of in regards of tempo, which is like not an easy thing, because in the metronome era it's very simple. You take 2 ticks for one and you have the correct tempo, but in Bach it's not that simple. So I had to rethink all of that. And then of course came the pianoforte in full force with Alberto, and we did of course the Beethoven first, and the partitas were forgotten. So after the Pachelbel, we did the Beethoven Fifth Symphony, was the first release, only also on vinyl. It's over there. Then we had a full Beethoven experience, which was a complete package of the symphonies now. Bach organ works, also on vinyl. It's over there. Well-tempered keyboard, clavichords, the full symphonies, complete keyboard works, and now Chopin piano works. And then in terms of courses, in the context of the Beethoven symphonies, we had Beethoven's Tempo Masterclass. I worked like crazy for this. And I think it's still, if you go through this, you know everything there is to know. There is like, even I discovered so many things preparing for this masterclass. And we have to also do some stuff with this, but that's for the future. Listening guide, that's of course 44 people are participating in that right now. It's like the best thing that you can do. And if you have difficulties in listening to the symphonies, Alberto and I take you in 20 hours of podcasts. And I know that I was making jokes of us, like we talk too much, but people listen to these things entirely. So there is something, when we talk, that is very appealing. So, but there we are. We've built all of that right now. And now, I'm really proud of that, and we did that together. If you think about that first video that I made with the Bach, the black background and the bad lighting, and then the first talking video, and then you go to the pianoforte was like in the build, and then Alberto came, the tempo, whatever. And like now we have all of this. This is like the second box is coming. The second well-tempered clavier is coming in September. And I'm writing that book. Lorenz started that in 2010, and he updated his 2010 manuscript, but we took it from there. I mean, I did that, Arthur did that. We have a small team of very dedicated people. I'm spending a lot of my time on the book right now, more than I actually should, because I'm now working with tight schedules to keep me just on focus also for the other things I need to do. I'm that kind of idiot. You give me something, I dive into that, and I just keep going. And that's probably also the reason why the book is now almost finished. And I really enjoy it so much. But all of it comes together. And now I'm thinking like, where do we want to go? For instance, I know a lot of people, and I made some notes here, obviously, that I'm clicking on my tablet, but tempo reconstruction, the pianoforte as well, in certain ways, has taken over the entire channel. I can say it like that. The clavichord is rarely there. We rarely talk about other things. I used to make videos on fingerings. It's a topic that's dear to me because I think it's one of the keys to understand music of Bach and even Mozart, but especially Bach, when I would be able to go with you through the inventions and maybe sinfonias, really in detail, making fingerings and explaining why that's important, all of you would play Mozart in a very different way. That's it, like instantly. And people, you ask me that. So bringing the clavichord back, we have the pianoforte there, making more videos on performance practice in general, where tempo reconstruction is not only part of, but is the foundation of everything. Like everything comes we've made the case for tempo reconstruction. We've made the case for whole beat. And for those, go ahead and type in the comments, no, you haven't, because there's not a single source that points to whole beat. Yeah, go ahead and be happy with your life. I'm reading the entire book right now again. It's like I'm impressed of myself, you know. I shouldn't say that, but I am. It's like, what are you going to say? I mean, there's tons of research to be done after, on top of this book, of course. What else would you think? I mean, a few people could not just take the place of entire universities where professors and students and doctoral students could have sabbaticals and whatever. We are doing this just in our free time, and thanks to our Patreons that allow me to spend so much time, and we should also expand there. That's also one part of my thing. Like, I want to do all of that on top of that. So tempo reconstruction is not going anywhere. But bringing this like in practice, teaching you also how to play not only a tempo masterclass on Beethoven's notation, but also on playing. And I was saying like clavichord and pianoforte goes very hard together. That's the reason why Alberto is doing all of this, so I can focus and dedicate my time to the clavichord and the organ. The organ is there as well. But ideas like creating this channel again around historical performance practice or performance practice in general, very, very focused from the perspective of tempo reconstruction, because you know changing tempo changes everything. You know that. That's something that I really would like. And then on top of that, but Stefan is going to talk with me, because probably I won't have time in his eyes, and he will be right. Of course, he's there also to protect me from myself. But I would like to have a membership, a kind of website where behind a paywall, that's true. But I mean, at a reasonable price, where you would have all these lessons, like 5 lessons per piece. We're making the fingerings together. We have a community that actually share things with each other. I come in there once in a while. Actually, I planned that for the Beethoven's masterclass on tempo, but it's too detailed there. It doesn't work. But the membership could be different, where we build lessons around music, and there's so much that I really would like to do there. But in order to do that, in order even to know what I would be doing or want to do, I have to take some time off. I have to really allow myself to... It's a kind of rat race now, it feels like me. And I've posted, of course, the deadlines of the book, 30th of June, that's in 2 days. Will I make it? Yes and no, but yes, I actually will make it. But it came with a huge price. Also, my health, I'm not saying that I'm unhealthy, that I mean, I have no intention of dying tomorrow, but I can feel that my sleep, my heart, it's like not very regular anymore, like as it should. And I know it's too much here, and I can handle a lot. That's also why we are here together. But I need to listen to my body and to this a little bit. And I want to step back and just recharge and rethink things. And I'm not sure in September I will be ready. The channel might be like going like this, but I hope I'll find also time with Stefan to brainstorm on this. Maybe in the future also, when Alberto has more time, the guy is like doing all he can as a teacher now, to build this live in Brussels, which is super expensive, and he's doing a great job. I mean, focusing on this, but maybe in the future he finds also a way of coming on to that membership and like adding pianoforte there, and like there are so many possibilities. And then the channel would be historical tempo reconstruction, and on top of that, some other things, and maybe other things as well. I have no idea. In fact, in the meantime, also, I would like to start a podcast. Many of you know, I've been talking about this for long. And if you actually go on Patreon, let me show you that, you will see that, here it is. Stefan and I make quite some podcast. In fact, Insiders Updates, that's for patrons, I mean, if you want to be closer to the project, that's something. The patron is going to have an update as well. We have now monthly subscriptions, and so very briefly, this is something that will be available, the Insiders Update, for the lower tier levels, regardless. But we're going to have some tier level building. Now it's a little bit all over the place. So for the people who are on Patreon, we will take care of you. No worries. Patreon, of course, you have also like this, my concert that I gave a few weeks ago. You have that's the Road to Mozart on clavichord. I'm forcing myself to do this. The partitas are still in my backpack. They're almost ready. But now my clavichord is back. Also that story you will have in the updates. So it's unbelievable how it sounds right now. And I really want to do this Mozart on clavichord. So I'm preparing that. And I'm recording not everything, but a lot, and just started with that. But practicing sessions on the organ. But here, for instance, the podcast with Alberto. But I wanted just to hear Electrocuting Chopin. We're giving this podcast every month, basically, where we talk a topic that I've talked about on YouTube, and just. But this is so, and we elaborate on that. But this is for me so nice to do. It's a slower process. You can, like, also this video will be an hour, but once you are in a topic, and it's with two people, it's much easier even, then you get into the zone. And for me also, I talked about language, English. The beginning of the videos are most difficult for me, because then you have to really nail the message. And then I'm thinking, and these phrases that I'm thinking, you're thinking abstract, of course. You have an image, and then it's in your mother tongue. It's instantly processed. It's not in English. So now it's much easier. So a podcast for me is much easier, and people can speed it up if they want. I'm doing that myself as well with my own videos when I check them. So here, just an example. Partimento, I have to say, doing an interview, and he mentioned that sort. And William Mason, when he said it, I remembered it, but I didn't recollect what was in the song.
And that's a connection I just noticed now. He clearly brings the connection between tempo and Chopin's intention.
And Stefan, he is a mathematician. He is so good at this. He knows how to ask the questions, to do what, and he's playing a little bit devil's advocate in this. So a podcast would be, of course, easier around tempo reconstruction, and because I don't have anything to show. And then if I would teach you anything at the clavichord, I would have to be there. Technically, that it's a nightmare. How to film the score, I have to think about that, about a setup that you would be willing to, like, for instance, downloading a score, showing a score, and playing it's like insanely difficult. So but that is something we can figure out. But in the meantime, when you want to have more of me, I mean, we have now 23 or 24 episodes, podcasts there, and there are a lot of updates. And the updates, I have to say, they become more and more podcasts as well, because we are developing, Stefan and I, actually live for you, the future of the project. And here in this update, you will hear me say, I'm making these little drawings, and then we use it as thumbnails while we talk. And so you hear me saying in this podcast, in this update, literally the things, or the announcement of, for instance, a membership that I would like to do. It feels like coming closer to you as well. And going back to the clavichord, while, that's not what I want. We've never abandoned the clavichord, but like bringing everything together, like now, again, the things from the beginning, and like see how we make like a unity out of that we have a channel that is dedicated, that people, when they land on it, know it instantly, like, this is for me. That's what I want to have. And so I'm not sure how to do that. Also, I'm not sure what to do with music, because there are a lot of music videos on my channel. But we've learned also that having music videos and talking head videos is not something you can combine. That's like YouTube is always conflicted between two different viewer experiences. That's actually what it is. And so we have to figure out what to do with that. The advice we got was like, okay, create a new channel with music only, and then you keep the old channel. And you can serve apparently some differences in audience, like people that like the clavichord, but a little bit the pianoforte, and vice versa. There is like an overlap there. But in terms of viewer experiences, apparently we have to do something. And that's for 2 years now, that this 3 years maybe that this decision is lingering, like at the background. Don't have the guts to do it. But once we have to, also for these recordings, they are nowhere. They're not on Spotify. I mean, why would we would we be on Spotify to just give everything away? We could serve this on a YouTube channel that's monetized, because there we can actually monetize a recording, and people who want to listen to that, they would probably go and buy this at some point, because then you are no longer plagued by the advertisements. But I mean, and I'm not only for the money, don't get me wrong, but it's an important thing, I mean, to keep this going. That's also something I realize. I'm working, I'm not saying 24/7, but a lot. And it's not a normal job. And I know that it's fine. And it will never be. Maybe in a few years, when the book is ready, when this entire project is ready, when we have maybe a little bit more people that go on Kickstarter. I'm very happy we managed to back the Chopin with still 3 days. I mean, I'm not complaining, but we should find ways. I mean, when we have 120, 150 people, and some of them even do not hesitate to go to the higher tier level, even giving like as much as more than 300 euros for a CD recording, because they really want to support this project. When these people exist, it should not be hard to double that number or to triple that number. And when we would quadruple that number, then we would have more leverage and room, so to say, in order to hire people to do stuff that now Stefan and a handful of people have to do. And that is, of course, something that also have to think about in the future, how long I want to play at this high level. But for now, I'm quitting, yes, for the summer, but I'm not quitting from this. I'm quitting also the summer months with a lot of fear, because there are stories of YouTube channels that when they come back after a few months, that the channel never recovers from that. On the other hand, you see the numbers on my channel also. We do have videos that sometimes reach 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 views in a week, but not the videos that I really want. The key videos of which I know that the production is high enough, in the sense not the production, that the video is good enough, is delivered good enough, concise enough. They're never short, but that's long enough and short enough. I can see that in the analytics. The attention rate is very high, but YouTube is missing these videos for one reason or another, or my thumbnails are not okay, my titles are not clickbaity enough. And yes, they have to be, because otherwise nobody is clicking. You won't even notice that I have a new video, because YouTube doesn't serve that to you. When the first handful of people do not click it, then YouTube doesn't even bother. There's over 100 years of content that's been produced every day. So I'm just like not even an atomic microscopic part of that. So the game is really hard on YouTube to stay on top of everything. And they say like you have to niche down, but we are niching down really a lot with temporary construction right now. And you would say, okay, it's very interesting. It's super interesting. It's more than interesting. It's like necessary. It's like the most important thing in classical music you can talk about. It's not only to reconstruct the intention of the composer, but it's also to bring some new life in this classical music. This whole thing feels to me like a curated exhibition that is like for 100 years curated by the same people over and over again. And now we're taking something of the basement, and people are, we don't do that. Yeah, but that would bring some life in your museum, right? So it's super critical, all of that. But it's difficult to make this happen on YouTube in a way that you see there is growth, that Patreon is growing. When I could triple my Patreon numbers of supporting Patreon numbers, then I would have basically a full-time income close to that. And that would, of course, enable me to do more. Now I have to do all kinds of stuff in between to also partly pay for all of this. So I'm not complaining. Absolutely not. I love what I'm doing, and I love you being here. I mean, that's the best thing. You as an audience that I can talk to right now, I'm missing you already now. But I won't go anywhere. So email is still open. Patreon is still open. Go on Patreon, check it out. And that's actually everything I had to say. The last thing I want to say is a question. Let me know what you expect, what you would like me to do. What's there in for you? Like, what kind of education, if I can call it like that, is there for you? What would be beneficial for you? What would you like me to see doing for you that we can build with a question in mind that if it would lead to a membership, you would be even willing to pay for that. I'm not saying you should. If you give me a comment, say, I would be willing to pay that. I'm not going to send you an email. Hey, you say that. I just want to know, how far do we want to go? And if you are still here at 1 hour and so, and I'm not going to cut anything, then leave it in the comments for sure, because you are the best part of my audience. And there is no even a competition for that. Now, having said all of that, have a nice summer. I see you back in the summer months. For sure, I'm going to make a video here or there. But if I don't, you will see me back in September. Beginning of September, mid-September. I might using my email list a little bit more to inform you. I might work on the website also a little bit more. I might write a little bit. I didn't talk about it. Of course, the book I talked about, but I really would like to dedicate more of my time to writing small blog posts. I really like doing that. And without bragging, I'm really good at it. I can write a blog post in 20 minutes, which is really good. I mean, the topic is in my mind. And for all these things, I don't have time anymore. And so I want to rethink all of that. Have a nice time over the summer. And I guess that's all I've got for you today. Thank you for being here and staying here with me on this journey. I appreciate it way more than I can say. Stay strong, eh? Bye.